Once again, we're here because of moving too quickly. This is another example of why we don't do things at light speed. Every single time, this governor moves fast, a disaster follows, and we are left to pick up the pieces and clean it up, and the people of New York suffer for it. We did it with APPR. We've done it on many other bills, which I won't even mention, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. Disaster follows when you move too quickly. Rather than thoughtful planning, thoughtful debate, we have to go 100 miles an hour. And you look no further than the letter from this governor to the Chancellor of the Regents, Merrill Tisch, demanding basically that everything that has now been done get done. Move really fast. He's going to incentivize those who go quickly. He's going to penalize those who don't move quickly enough to his liking, and disaster follows. And here we are, a year later, after a governor demanded that we do it full bore, ran from the responsibility of it and said, I have nothing to do with SED, except for the letter to Merrill Tisch points out that he clearly did. And now he backs off and says, and I quote, Common Core is the right direction, unquote. That's debatable, but that's his words. Quote, how they did it is, I believe, is the problem, unquote. He demanded it get done the way it get done. Quote, this was very different than in past curriculums, and it was almost traumatic to the system, unquote. What constitutes traumatic? If this, what we're going through, is almost traumatic, I would not like to see what constitutes trauma to the education system. Quote, children that would get grades that were in the 90s now came home with grades that were in the 60s, unquote. What happened to the kids that were in the 60s? They're now in the 30s, apparently. Quote, and the parents weren't properly briefed, the students weren't properly briefed, unquote. You don't brief students, you teach students. So what happened here is a nightmare brought forth because of moving too quickly. So with APPR, which is linked all into this, we're going to test kids on stuff they don't know, and the teachers didn't have time to teach. And then we're going to hold the teachers responsible and put their jobs on the line because the kids don't know what they haven't yet been taught. But yet that was passed by this House. Majority of members voted for that. Not the right way to go, clearly, and now we're paying the price for it, and here we are cleaning up a mess that should never have happened to begin with. So now we have a governor that wants a pause. Instead of following through in a slow, measured pace, we could have rolled this out properly if it should have been rolled out at all. The regions don't escape criticism either. That's why I say not a single region, when we take that vote up, not a single region should be reappointed. They sat there quietly. They did what they were told. They own this mess as well. And now I would be remiss, as I think the only professional airline pilot that's ever sat in this chamber. I have 12,000 hours flying airplanes. Never scratched one, never broke one, thank God. So I would be remiss if I didn't point out that the analogy of saying you're going to build the airplane while you're flying it should stop. That would be perceived by a pilot, and you don't need to be a pilot to figure this one out. That would be really dumb, moronic, epically stupid, and would point out gross incompetence. And you would have disastrous results if you did that. Strike that. Maybe that is the right analogy, Mr. Speaker. Maybe they should stick with that analogy.